minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Without representation, what is a nation without representation? Up to 5%, not a 10% of basic. What is a nation without representation? What is a nation without representation? What is a nation without representation? Up to 5%, not a 10% of basic.
Peace, peace, peace. What's going on, party people in the place to be? I am DJ K Wise, aka Kato, the Black Superhero. Welcome to another rendition of the Real 360 show. And without further ado, we're gonna get right into what we call the wrap-up session for 2021. And I can't do that without introducing and bringing on my brother in God, my co-host, my man with the 40,000 grand in his hand, which I need $5 from. So, ladies and gentlemen, my brother in God, Mr. Joshua Mel Allah, aka Mr. PhD himself. Peace to the God.
Peace to the God. How you? How you? I want to say peace to all the individuals, everybody, all our followers who follow Real to Real 360 from day one. Or whether it was on Spotify, iHeart, Facebook, YouTube, Podbean, everything. Like we've had so much support over this last few months. It's been ridiculous. And it was great to bring a lot of energy and a lot of light to different subjects. So today we're going to build about interviews that we've had, the experiences we've had, and how this season has impacted our lives, myself and your life, and also to pay respects to those who have passed away. My mom pay respects, what I'm saying, to Mom Wilson, you know what I mean? She's down in South Click, and I know she's listening, you know what I mean, listening to our show because she listened to all of them. And I want to say, pay respects to the gods and herbs that have returned and all the family members that we have lost in 2021 and moving forward and what we're looking to accomplish in 2022. So on that note, K man, this has been a crazy year. This has been a thought that we've had, you know what I'm saying? And I remember we be in the charge room, we be building about it. We're like, yo, we can do this, you know what I'm saying, ourselves, make this happen. And we reason why I feel like our show stands out more so than anybody else show is because we're two members of the Nation of Gods and Earth 5% Nation, and we just don't touch on the issues of the nation. We touch on different things universally, um, and we highlight 5%ers who are touching the communities in different areas. Not just 5%ers, a lot of 85%ers who are making causes in effect in their neighborhood and their community with helping out the homeless, working with at-risk youth. You know what I mean? It's just different things. And then also too, we build on subjects, you know what I'm saying, to help further the nation. So this year's been really, you know what I'm saying, phenomenal to even say and to even think about. We started this in like July,
Mm-hmm.
like the end of July. It's December.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So, and them 6 months went
Still
by
here.
quick. Yo, God, that time went by quick, God.
Yeah, yeah. It was a blessing, man. It was a blessing. We looked at it like we talked about, God. The determined idea was was already in plan while we was on the charge room, you know,
Hmm.
the Kings, and we're building, and we talked about so much stuff, and we was like, yeah, like you said, we could do this ourselves, and we can showcase and platform the idea that we had to bring about a different change. So like you said, not just talking about this, just another 5% podcast. This is a 5% podcast with the extension to all human families on the planet Earth. You know what I mean? We covering the whole objective of real to real 360 is to cover all four corners of the square to complete the
Right.
cipher. So that's why when people be asking me, they say, "Well, why y'all name the show Real to Real?" I said, "Let me break it down for you. First of all, take out the first way how we spelled it. Real, the first real, REAL, dealing with reality. We dealing with reality of truth. The two
Hmm.
O or the number two, when you see it, represents the two generals of this show. That's the wisdom of the two generals, the way the knowledge just come together, kicking it with the wisdom when we speak to bring you forth the real that's being showed to you live. That's why you see the other real, REEL. You seeing this, you viewing this from a live perspective from two wise men that got
Hmm.
knowledge of self to give you 360 degrees of a view from one side to another in the same as we are alike to bring you the truth as we see it and as it's made, we making it known. So that's the reason why it's a real 360. So we bringing you the truth on all four corners of the square. And this has been a true magnetic and powerful movement that we have started. And I can say that looking back on every show, the comments that we had from all our people that's been out there listening, either God body or not, and the comments have always been positive. And that's the greatest part about what we doing. Because if we receive the positive energy, that means we ain't doing nothing wrong as far as the eyes that are seeing to be holding the wisdom that we speaking and bringing forth. And the best part about it, God, is like we reaching out, like we talk about, we reaching out to our community, we reaching out to all our brothers and sisters, to everybody
Hmm.
that's out there making change, making moves, making things real, making the dreams that they have into a reality that benefits not just themselves, but for the people they have the dream for to bring forth to light. And this is why I love our show. This is why I love what you've been growing. I'm watching you growing into the manifestation of the eyewitness news, the great reporter to bring, the go getter. I gotta let everybody know this is the go getter because a lot of the people you have seen on this show that are our special guests, that God has reached out. He has the ability and he has the power of love that's resonated throughout him and everybody that has he gravitated to didn't say no. They was like, yo, not a problem. So that's showing you how mind detects mind and love hella right is always in accordance, and we are doing we gonna do it again. Trust and believe me. Hate to say well, I'm not gonna say I hate to say I'm gonna say this is the last show we wrapping up for the 2021. But trust and believe, we are definitely going to be full front and folding in 2022. So understand, we bringing that wisdom to you with the culture. You understand what I'm saying? And we going to show you that love. We going to bring it to you and have give you a holy quality of everything that you're witnessing on. You will bear witness to the truth of Allah. You will bear witness. You will see Allah. You see him right now in the presence of two. Because when you say, when two or more gather, you will see me. You understand what I'm saying? So we see God in the presence. We see God in the reality sense, not the spookism. None. This is Allah in the manifestation of Master Allah now. We are who we are. We are Allah. We am Allah. Our God is the culture. So with that being said, God, yo, it's yeah, yo, I thank you. I salute you, my brother, because you have been the Mr. PhD when it came to a lot of this. And the thing is, man, we laugh. A lot of people don't know what go on in the background when we be doing what we doing, man. And if they could, if they was at the after party, basically when the show, they'd be laughing it up, man. They'd be like, these two are just clowns, man. Because everything
Right.
we do is with love and respect and laughter, because everybody goes through certain things in their walks of life, man. And one of the
Mm-hmm.
topics that we hit on was mental issue. That was one of the
Right.
most
Mental health.
powerful and dynamic shows that we dealt with, dealing with mental illness for some,
Mm-hmm.
the mental anguish for others. Mental, when we talk about the mentality, it covers every perspective of what's going on in one's mind. Nobody knows
Mm-hmm.
what's going on in every individual's mind unless an individual brings you to the light of what's going on. You may see certain signs and symptoms, but sometimes those certain signs and symptoms can be disillusional if you not sharpen your third eye, which is best part is listening. When you do the
Mm-hmm.
knowledge, you look, listen, observe, and respect what somebody's saying to you, because you never know what truth is really coming out. It could be a cry for help, but if you tuned out, if your eye is tuned out, your understanding is not going to be. You'll never understand what the person's talking about. So your understanding is going to be misunderstood for what the truth is trying to come out and be held to you. So, and that show, I know, meant a lot for you. It definitely meant a lot for me, and it definitely reached out to a lot of our fans who hit us up. And I got a couple of calls after that on the phone. And by the way, if y'all look at the bottom of the screen, the phone line is open, 336
Mm-hmm.
807 9299. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And I first want to give a big shout out to everybody in Port Knox, aka Freeport, on Strong Island, and also to the guards rest about Roosevelt. You know what I mean? The big Velt, that's one of our brothers right there, Roosevelt, Freeport, right next door to door, building and
Yeah.
destroying. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So, we want to give our Strong Island just due, because it is a important factor with building and destroying, in this nation. And
Indeed, because that's our
a
foundation.
lot of
You
great
know,
people,
that,
absolutely, a
yeah,
lot of great
that's
people
our foundation.
come from Strong Island or Lord's Island. They don't even realize, but that's all right. The knowledge is there. True indeed, the knowledge is there. So, but getting back to the real for 2021, man, and I think that
Yo,
the last 2 months, God, November and this Deca, has really been a trying time, God, for us.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Strongly mentally and physically from the loss of your foundation. You know what I mean? And I look back in November of 2020, I lost my brother. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And but everything is all good. Everything is still what it is. We still here to tell the stories. We still here to
No
carry the
question.
love. We still here to carry the everything of our what's eternal. It's never a loss, because it's always the energy that's never lost, and it's always returned right to the bare part. So, you know, we love everybody. We love everybody that's been supporting us 120%. You know what I mean? And continue, continue. I haven't asked anyone for a dime as far as any monetary value. I just ask that you subscribe. I just ask that you
Mm-hmm.
click like. I just ask that you share with each and every
Mm-hmm.
one. We have been touching lives across the seas. I'm gonna let the God speak on that. But trust me, this 360 is real. We're not just local. We have been global, and that is a blessing
Right.
in itself. So go ahead, go add on for that.
Yo, peace, peace, yo. First of all, I want to say thank you, to my brother K for, what I'm saying, building with me on making this manifest. Because, as we say in the nation, from two came many. And, you know, when it comes down to me and him, that's the black and I'm the brown. You know what I'm saying? And we the seeds of this. So the understanding is the real 360. And this is what comes from when we manifest, but that only shows our relationship with one another, the magnetic that we have with one another. And you see it during the show. Um, we spoke about, like the guys say, mental health. in black communities and black households and minority households, or however you want to say it. And this show has been very therapeutic for me. As I can say, my personally myself has been very therapeutic. Um, able to build with individuals and get a different perspective of what is going on in different areas of this country. We all face similar plights, and we all attack the situation from different angles, striving to be solutions. Like the brother Duran Shavers teaching us about how to grow our own food, naturally organic foods. Um, you have Project 43 out in California. Now, mind you, let me get back to Duran Shavers. That's in Richmond, Virginia. And Project 43 is in Los Angeles, California. And that was part of Nipsey Hussle's dream. Not necessarily Project 43, but part of the marathon that he was running out there trying to help the underdeveloped youth that's out there to tap into their full potential. Then we had the God Saladin in Niagara Falls, who it would take the whole wrap up just to even speak on Saladin's resume. Then
Absolutely.
we had the God Casimala, you know, the God MC from New Rochelle, our brother who not
KC the God.
only
Mm-hmm.
is an MC, is a teacher in school, a great father, great brother, uh, do voiceover for commercials, who's touching various different aspects of life. Then we had the leaders of the new school. We had Johnny Juice, you know what I'm saying?
Johnny
Milo the Dance, you
Juice.
know what I'm saying? Cut Master Milo in the
Yes,
building.
sir.
Then
Mm-hmm.
we had the Saint Lunatics. We had Murphy Lee,
Saint Lunatic.
Ali, Power God, you know, and
I
people
leave
don't
our
realize
God.
like Ali is righteous, Murphy Lee is righteous, and it's so crazy. Murphy Lee named his son Righteous Allah Murphy. People don't understand, don't know the aspects. Majority of individuals that you saw on the show were actually 5%ers. You know what I'm saying? Outside of, you know what I'm saying, the Boss Queen, the Ron Shavers, they were mostly all 5%ers. You know what I mean? And they were touching lives in various different aspects, you know what I mean, that you would never know. Project 43 wasn't 5%er, but they was in the community. And
Those in the
since we've
community.
been doing this show, we've touched lives not just on the East Coast, not just on the West Coast, but in Canada, India,
Mm-hmm.
the UK, Africa. When I see the response that people are tuning in globally to listen to what's going on Real to Real 360, it just shows and prove that the laws, mathematics, you know what I'm saying, is universal. The truth, you know what I'm saying, is universal. We have a duty as a civilized person to teach he who is savage civilization. So with this show, we've been doing that. We've had Allah's grandson, Ramel, on the show. We had our big brothers, Born Black, Allah Shah, uh, Divine Prince.
Divine Prince. Yes. Allah
You know what I
B.
mean? And Law
Yep.
B.
Yeah.
I can never forget Law B. I would just want to speak on the Law B
Yes, sir.
alone, separate from a lot of individuals, because not to say separate, but a Law B has a lot of history. Has a lot of history, and he just recently lost one of his seeds, one of his daughters. And
Mm.
at this point in time, you know, we know that our brothers go through trials and tribulations, goes up and down health wise. He may not be the best, you know what I'm saying, right now in his best form, but his mind is sharp. His mind is sharp.
Absolutely.
The history is sharp. The things that he's done and the walk that he's walked, you know what I mean, is a blessing to just be able to listen to some of the jewels that he's always willing to give us. And like you said, God, I'm humbled by a lot of individuals who I reach out to and I didn't get a no. They just tell me, yo, God, when you want to do this. You know what I'm saying? When you want to do this, give me the date, time, or what have you. We've had Master Brown Seed, Tashandra Law, who supported us from day one. You know what I'm saying? With our Fire Designs.
Absolutely.
We had Wise Kinetic, you know, who had Hill Store in Durham, North Carolina, whose born day was yesterday. And I want to say happy born day to our brother Wise Kinetic. You know, I love you, pretty Tony.
Happy born day, bro. True indeed.
You
Yeah.
know, and we've had Sincere, Majestic. Also, too, I'd be remiss to tell not to say that if you're 5% and you have yet to actually take this your first time seeing the show, you can get the show again on YouTube. But you can go onto the Law School in Mecca website where they have the Universal Parliaments. We're highlighted on that as well, by the God Laquan Universal. And it's such a beautiful thing when you think about who and where we come from. You know, the years, not just the years we've put in this nation, putting in work, and the ideas that we have with one another. We've been highlighting the last couple of shows the knowledge, where the knowledge came from, or where the knowledge, how the knowledge thrived in certain areas. Um, we built with some of the gods in truth known. Um, Akil, Lord Hashem, Umi Sudan. We've built with the gods in earth and now sea, striving to reach out with the gods in South Carolina, um, born out here in Master Divine in Maryland. We've had Japreme Magnetic, who was a firstborn of Divine Sea, on the show.
Yeah.
We have Salim Adobo, who is a commissioner in Washington, D.C. Salim
And we got to
Adobo.
get that show back too. It's part two.
We got, yeah, we definitely got to get that show back. There's a few shows that we're looking to bring a part two.
Part two.
But one of the most magnetic pieces of this year was Building with Absolute, talking about financial literacy,
Yes.
talking about
Yes.
stocks, how to build a portfolio, things of that nature. And it was very enlightening. I think matter of fact, all of our shows are very enlightening. When you build with Starmel, a law, who's currently in school to become a lawyer, who've written 3 books, who have also been a part of 2 litigations for on the behalf of the nation of gods and earths. You know, so brothers can be recognized not as a religion but as a culture and be able to be manifested anywhere that we go. Um, it's when you start thinking about the actual show, like which one stands out the most, and it's hard. It's hard, you know, when building with the sisters up there in Syracuse, Sarah, and the boss business queen, and the works that they're putting in up there, the entrepreneurship that they're dealing with out there, their own business.
The pudding queen.
Yeah, the
The
pudding
pudding
queen.
queen, right? That was a type 2 pudding queen too as well.
Right,
Yes.
right. That was her roadie, a co-work. But
Right.
then you had Ilyasa, who helped like
Yes.
springboard us into where we are today. And we'd be remiss if we didn't just salute that. And on top of that, the book that she wrote, the
Several books.
editorial that she has, the editorial that she has, and also she has her own show on iHeartRadio, and it deals with empowerment. She
Absolutely.
helped build the charge room, the men's locker room, gathered great brothers together, where we were able to come together and manifest ideas that we wanted to see happen in our community. And these are the things that the show highlights, been highlighting all year long. So, like I say, Kay, I don't know if you got any of our drops, you know what I mean? Because see, people think it's a game when we tell them we got the Saint Lunatics, or we had the LONS, so we had this one, or we had that one. We got the drops. We got the drops. Like let the gods showing us love, and everyone, you know, what I'm saying, stepping up. I'd be remiss if I didn't say anything about Dark Himalaw, who has a show streaming live from a law school in Mecca, called Random Jewels. Then you have Minister Freedom out in D Mecca, who has the 5% Connection show, who deals, you know what I'm saying, who deals with strictly the gods and earths, and the lessons, and your understanding and the mathematics and the history of the culture, which is a beautiful show. You know what I'm saying? I must admit, I've caught, and I try to support all of our brothers and sisters in all their avenues. Then you have True Mathematics, Zigzag, Zigala out there in Georgia, who has Montana Way Music, Fly Lord Clothing. Um, you have so many brothers and sisters that are entrepreneurs that are making moves, or who are change makers in their community. So, but I wanted to build on something though, Lord. I wanted to build on something. I
Okay.
was going through
Let me add on
Balt.
quick. Let me add on. Pause
Okay,
up,
God.
not cut your
Go
wig. Let
ahead,
me
go
add
ahead.
on to that when we talk about entertainment and change. But down there, as you know, Livation Entertainment
Right,
is
right.
based out of Decatur, Atlanta, and it's at you can go reach them at 3 a.m. Studios.
Hmm.
3 a.m. Studios. Go see our boss, my captain, my man, DJ Strong, right there.
Hmm.
You go down there, you tell them that the brothers on Real to Real 360 say peace. They want to come. If you want to do some beautiful recordings, we also got Livation Radio Network that's being aired. This is one of our sponsors. You also can follow us up there with Radio Connect. If you want to listen to the show, you want to listen to any of the shows, my DJ show is on there. Everybody that we connecting with in Livation Radio Network is on there. It's on point. So I just want to give a big shout out to the Livation family and let them know, we
Hmm.
love you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the platform and giving us the time to step up and do what we do. And we continue to build and move forward into the 2022. Go ahead, God. Peace.
Please. Of course, you know, I wanted to shout out DJ Strong for giving us the media, the medium to do what we do, and the support that he gives us, and the push that he gives us, you know, on his radio show, and then networking with other radio shows to have us put on their radio shows. It's just a beautiful situation. But
That's right. That's right.
yesterday,
This is community
you
building.
know, I work with the youth. As far as my 9 to 5, my main source of income is working with the babies. Um, Out of the District of Columbia, out of Baltimore. So I was driving through Baltimore and I saw something that was really disturbing to me. And it was spray painted on the wall, no shooting zone. No shooting zone. So that spoke volumes to me about the quality of life in that area. And when I'm dealing with the babies from that area, trying to understand the hell that they go through and trying to be a safe place for them, because we need that. We need to always be able to give our babies a safe place, and feel secure in what I mean, whatever is going on, with us, a place where they can express themselves, say what's going on, because our babies are having PTSD, are getting PTSD before they're 11, 12 years old. People are normalizing death. They're normalizing gunplay. There is no conflict resolution. At the end of the day, we are people of love. We are people, you know what I'm saying, of nurturing. We are people of culture. The devil is the people of wickedness and destruction and killing. And now that's all our babies see. So we have to give them much more than what they have, and we always talk about individuals who lip profess. They spew out 120 lessons in 120 seconds. No problem, backwards and forwards. But the applied mathematics is what's needed. So when it comes down to our show, we give you applied mathematics. We give you individuals who are actually in these communities where we see these babies are suffering, and we're striving our best to give them a solution to or a different outlet than their norm. People that they can go to for different resources, if it's not just for homework, um, athletics, uh, agriculture, or just someone to talk to. These are the individuals we highlight on our show. And like I said, to go through and see us spray painted on the wall, no shooting zone, to me was very deplorable to go through and see my brothers and sisters living in an area like that. This is not third world country. Our babies shouldn't go to school and be in fear, or the school shouldn't have a commercial on TV saying it's a safe school. Because my thing is, that should be something that you don't have to say. You don't have to say a commercial for the school, such and such school is a safe school. And that speaks volumes to the environment. That speaks volumes of what's actually needed in our community. So with Real to Real 360, we give people their flowers while they're on our show. And the reason why we give people their flowers on the show because they're actually out in the community doing what's needed to be done. People be like, well, it's on a small scale. Sometimes a seed must be planted to grow.
That's right.
We we never when we build about our show, we don't never compare our show to nobody else. We never said um, we in competition with this individual, or we in competition with this individual, or anything of that nature, because we forge our own lane, and that's what change delegates do. They forge their own lane. They make things happen for themselves, and in the community today, these babies need to see more individuals. I want to say like yourself, who is a military vet who came from the same area I come from, pulled himself up, made things happen for himself, made things happen for his babies, made things happen in his community. That should be applauded. No one ever said that it's going to be easy because the road that the righteous walk is never easy. The righteous walk a gravel road with no shoes. And that's a parable because it's painful sometimes to live righteous. As a matter of fact, it's painful all the time to live righteous because you're around individuals who don't see what's going on around them. And we see what's going on around us, and it's hurtful to us, and nobody else can see it. So, what we do is we go amongst the people and we show them. We strive our best to teach them and giving them the opportunity where they can grow, a foundation they can grow from. So we reach back, and while we're climbing up, we're pulling individuals up with us. We've had collaboration shows with Ground Zero. We, you know, and as I'm speaking, I'm starting to remember all the shows that we've had, and the names are starting to come across. But it's it's definitely a situation where you say, I want to do more. So in our next season, I'm looking to highlight the babies in our culture that grew up from gods and earths and who are productive, who's taking this banner, taking our flag and taking it to the next level and moving on in a way where they're shining light on all of us. They're showing the greatness of our nation. We're going to do a show about God and earth relationship. Um, we're going to do a part two with Absolute, a part two with Saladin. Man, I can't wait for those two shows. Um, a part two with Salim. We're gonna touch on
That's cool. That's a powerful one too.
right. We're gonna touch on the pandemic this season because we've been striving to get this show together for the pandemic, but we've had so many shows back to back that it was the schedule was crazy. Whereas we had to take a break because I think at one point in time we was doing like almost 2-3 shows a week, and your
Some two,
schedule and
three
my
shows
schedule.
in a day.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Two,
two or
three
three shows
shows
in a day.
in a day,
Yeah, yeah.
and we'd be up late discussing shows. You know what I'm saying, and discussing how we can make these things happen, or how we can how you know what I'm saying if we have scheduling conflict, how we can navigate through this and how we can navigate through that, and that's I take you know what I'm saying I'll take my hat off to you because you've always been right there with me. We build on everything. We come together, and if we don't agree, then it don't happen. You know, and that's one thing I say about our relationship, that we come together as one. There is no separating of the one and the two. There's no separating, you know what I'm saying, of us, and we come to add on. So this year, I'm very excited about what we have going on. I'm very excited about what we have going on. I'm very excited about the people that we've touched across seas, some of the messages that we receive from different little podcasts from across the country. And you have to hit the translation, you know what I'm saying? Because don't not realizing that in some places that even though we're speaking English, they're hearing it in their language. And you're like, wow, this is this is deep. When we first did the show, I was excited that we were just hitting the East Coast. Then we started touching the Midwest and Cali. Remember, I was like, yo, man, we about to get everything on Smash, and you know what I'm saying, in the US. Then when I started seeing Canada, I was like, Canada, wow, that's crazy. Then when I seen India and England and Asia, I was like, whoa. And you start getting messages when your
Yeah.
next show, when your next show. Um, but as a whole, this has been a very great year for Real to Real 360. We've had our ups and downs for us. We had a lot of losses, um, but we had a lot of wins. In the beginning, it was a learning situation where we were striving our best to get an avenue or media, whereas we can get everything together, get the sound together, and y'all bear with us. That was the crazy. Y'all bear with us until we got to the medium that we use now, and it was beautiful, but it was a learning process. It was a learning process, and as you see, I've grown. K grown since we've done this, and the show has become visually better because I think that was a major issue. Uh, there's no more delays in the sound. We worked it all out. So going forward, I'm excited. You know what I mean? And I know Kay, you got some individuals you want to bring onto the show, and you know what I mean. You can speak to that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Coming into the new year, we're gonna highlight some uh, doctors, nurses, other lawyers, all people from all walks that I want to bring on. I also want to
Yeah,
bring
because
on
you already got two of the
mention.
cremators right here. You got two cremators right here.
Yeah, I want to make knowledge known that I spoke with one of my brothers I grew up with, my disco. I call him Disco. I ain't gonna put his name out there yet till we bring him on and show him and his ways. And they have his wife, beautiful woman. She's out there. She's grinding, and they got a business that they working on together. Their family connection is beautiful. The black love is definitely there, and they out in the Lord's Island once again. They out in the Lord's Island, and they have a up and coming dynamic vocal artist who's also a musician as well. And I'm not going to give away too much of the cream, but I want
Mhm.
y'all to stay tuned and get ready for that because what we getting ready to do, God, is not just do our video platforms from the home aspect, but we're getting
Oh
ready to
no.
move into the part where we will be with. All right, so we won't let that cat out the bag till it's time. But
We ain't gonna let
we
that out the
we gonna
bag
drop
yet.
some real true jewels. We gonna be doing the real of real. I just say that, you know what I mean? But we got good things. We're gonna be bringing, uh, I'm gonna be playing some music in some of the backgrounds while we be doing our shows, chilling and relaxing. So we make the atmosphere more comfortable for ourselves as well as our guests. And a lot of things like any of the artists that we get on there, we're gonna start showcasing their music. Their we hope to get video shoots so we can share it with you all. If each and every one of you community people doing the work, we are coming live to a direct theater near you. That's just mainly cut. But I wanted to add on to what you said when you started talking, and it touched me because it's dealing with the now, but I'm gonna take it back to 25,000 years into the past because it's funny. Today's supreme mathematics, we doing the knowledge of culture, all being born to power, which is the truth. With that being said, we're talking about violence, chaos, destruction of our own selves. When I'm talking about the black man, woman, and child, of what we doing, which is a discernment to ourselves. You know, we glorify when the Caucasian shoots a black man and we want to riot, we want to fight, we want to beat up people that ain't had nothing to do with it, but because they Caucasian, we want to advocate on them, let them know we ain't putting it up. But when we do it to ourselves, ain't nothing broadcast real good on the news. It ain't we ain't marching, we not protesting, we not doing this. We keeping it, you know, we keeping it.
Yeah, keeping it hush.
And what we doing is we killing ourselves. So in the Caucasian and those who are trying to destroy us from being relevant, they sit back because they ain't doing it. We doing it to ourselves, so we helping them with their cause instead of us fighting for our true cause to right to live. Now I say that to say this, and I'm putting it in the mathematical perspective. We building on power and truth. Now, 1989 is understanding wisdom years to this date, which also borns power and truth. And I'm saying this because it touches me to my heart because that was the year that my father, the late Reverend Dr. Irvin Wilson, minister, reverend, founder. of the King Emmanuel Missionary Baptist Church, right in Brooklyn, New York, right in the heart of Bed-Stuy, Malcolm X Boulevard, which used to be known as Reed Avenue, in Bainbridge. Right there was shot, murdered in the very church he established by a man that looks like me, him, you, and every other black man in the community. They robbed him. They robbed the church, and my father happened to come in and stumble on him, and it was another person with him. That's how they was able to take my father down. And they shot my father twice. So when we start talking about the violence, the black on black violence, I'm not going to say black on black crime, because any crime don't have a color, but we label it so. But we have to understand what we doing to each other as a people, as a nation. We are killing ourselves. And no matter how many times we see this happening, and it's in the streets, it's in the streets, but yet the people want to advocate change, but they're not fighting for it because they don't want to get involved. They don't want to be. Come on, this is us. We need to be involved. We need to stand up. We need stand-up men. We need stand-up women for us. We don't need them to come in the community and talk about what they're going to do for us when we need to be doing it for ourselves. We need to be fighting, telling them, listen, we are not going to keep allowing what y'all do in our community that benefits you and wreaks havoc on us to where we put it on ourselves and blame ourselves, and then the chaos is there. And the only ones that's suffering is the black man, woman, and child. But the only thing others are doing is moving into the neighborhood that we have, moving us out and benefiting from that factor. The gentrification is true and real. Mm-hmm. And people need to understand this. Brownstones in Brooklyn, that's $2 million a watt, is being sold underneath in the courtrooms to other people for $1. And that's facts. That's facts. So what are we doing? We it's like, I hate to say, but see, a lot of us have lost our ways when it comes to this culture, when it comes to who we are. And I listen, I'm gonna tell you this 100. I don't give a damn what your belief is, what your faith is. All that don't mean nothing to me. If that's yours, it's yours. Trust me, I'm not knocking it. But I want you to understand the human nature of things, the natural state of order. Know who you are. Know thyself. Study thyself to show approval. So when you know who you are and you come to the light and knowledge of who you are, make that difference in your community. It starts at your home. And then you collectively get together and start building and start making your truth in light so others will see your works and goodness and they want to join. But if they see the negative out there every day, the negative, that's all that's going to be highlighted. Listen, as me and you talked before, Gardner, you said it, and I love that bill when you said there's a positive cipher and a negative cipher. Why should we? I'm positive. I know I'm positive, but if I add on with another positive brother, just positivity, we ain't doing nothing but just stay in that same realm. How are we gonna make a change in a positive environment if we don't step outside of that positive to realm in the negative room to bring out a positive impact and change in the negative? So yes, we need to be where the negativity is. We are where we are in our communities that are giving us negative connotation and destroying us. That's where the positive black man, woman, and child need to go to. Just like James Brown's song said, Santa Claus, go to the ghetto. Mm-hmm. All right? But I ain't talking that's, I'm metaphorically, I'm trying to give you a picture. Santa Claus goes straight to the ghetto. All right? Mm-hmm. Guards go straight to the ghetto. Politicians that are advocating when you come from, those that even get up there, what pisses me off. Yo, man, I was born and raised right here in the streets of Brooklyn, the Bronx. I'm all about my people. But when you get to where you are, don't nobody see you. Don't nobody hear from you. They come and tell you, yo, this is what's going on. You know what's going on in your community. But you don't got your hands washed. Just tonight now, your black hands are whiter than like leprosy. What are you doing to make a positive influence? I challenge all black entertainers, entrepreneurs. Listen, I ain't asking you for a damn dime. Do what you know you should do. If you come from a place where negativity is and you was raised in it and you made a positive change, go back and establish a positive nucleus in the root, in the heart of the civilization from which you came from, and make your knowledge known to say, yo, I'm here. I have not left y'all. We going to make this change together. I left to do something. I'm bringing it back to pull more people with me from my communities. You know what I'm saying? And it touches me, God, because it's real. This is not so. I ain't talking out my behind. My father was shot and murdered in his church in the crucifix position. You know, and there was more to it than just the average killing. There was science behind his murder because of what he was doing for the community. You understand what I'm saying? My father was out there fighting and advocating for our people to get off these streets and make a change. You are much better than who you are. He used to tell that to me and my brothers and my sister when we coming up. You are more than who you think you are. I don't want you to think. I want you to know who you are. And when you know who you are, nobody can take that from you. Those were his words, and it instills in me. And I say that to any man, woman, and child on this earth. Know your. Not my nephew got a clothing line. Shout out to my nephew, Doc Wilson. Know your worth. All right. So the teachings are dropping from seed to seed. You know what I'm saying? My brother, who's his father, busts his behind. He's a hardworking man to raise his 4 children and his wife. You know what I mean? They do it together. And it ain't been easy. It ain't been easy. But I give that man his flowers for what he's done. You know, he was raising me basically as a young brother, come up under his wing in the manners. You know what I'm saying? So I give everyone they just do. You know, irregardless of what you may think or feel about me, because you can't mold something in me that ain't moldable unless I want it to be molded. My knowledge is rooted and it's not going to change as long as it's in positive light. And all I'm doing, no matter what, you know what I'm saying? So people, my people, heed my words. Stop the killing. Stop the killing. We don't need it. You want to be successful, draw your brother up unto you. Draw your sister up unto you. Build a business together and watch. The reason why we are last is because we are trained mentally in this thing. They know that the power in you is more valuable than any other. When you get together, if you want to make one change in this community, stop buying their products. Stop going to support their business. Support your black-owned businesses. The reason why it's hard for black men and women to have businesses is because they make it hard for their rules and benefits to benefit them to stay in power of where they are. It's called robbing you to live in in their luxury. Robbing you from your jewels. You don't understand. It ain't about gold. It ain't about money. You are the jewel that they are robbing. You are the essence of what they're stealing from. You are that power. Now that's some real to real for your behind. And I'm telling you this. We are. The moment, every time when we said we was doing it, from the boycott start, from the buses with Martin Luther King and everything else, the moment we stop using their modes and means and ways of earning them their money, and we start reinvesting and putting our money into ourselves, oh, watch the change. Watch the love, the so-called love come out. We need you. We want you back. We're gonna give you 50% off the first week, 85% discount to get you back. Now understand, 85% is a true number. 85% off, 50% off. You see what I'm saying? Do the knowledge of the map that they put out to draw you back into their well instead of you drinking from the true fountain of the well of Zimzim, getting the true water. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying this is love, man. And I'm hard on the black man because I know I need people who's hard on me when I was out there doing dumb things. You know, but I'm glad I had people to show me love and educate. You know what I mean?
So I've come to understand. Pardon self, Lord. I come to understand like people use the term of having knowledge of self as a shield. And that means to shield people from their ignorance, their dirty ways and actions. And it's a lot of things that people claim to have knowledge of themselves and knowledge of something and really only have a minute or the very minimum of information, but they know that other individuals don't have it, so they try to use this information that they have as a tool over others. When we build about positive and negative ciphers, and where should we be? A lot of people say positive. A lot of people say positive because they want to move away from where they came from. They want to run from themselves. I used to use a motivating phrase was, I had one step in the hood and one step out. So I was straddling the fence. So that means that I had an internal battle with myself, trying to figure out where I was going and where I didn't want to go back to. Not that I didn't want to go back to my neighborhood, because my neighborhood deserves all the positive energy that I have and that anyone has, that because we come from a community with individuals with rich talent, not just monetary. We're talking about Julius Erving. We're talking about Chuck D, Professor Griff, Howard Stearns, Eddie Charlie Murphy. We're talking about Jumping Jim Green, who used to play for the Knicks. You know what I mean? You had a lot of people. And I don't recall a brother that starred in the New Jersey Drive. He was from Roosevelt. People like everybody watched the movie New Jersey Drive, and they thinking that's Gabrielle Union's brother. That brother's from Roosevelt. He grew up, born and raised in Exit 21, 11575 Roosevelt, Long Island. And he got his break. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he got his break. So there's rich history, rich culture. I have a cousin who was a VP in Lehman Brothers of a brokerage firm, and who was part of the top 200 billionaire Fortune 500 companies coming out of Roosevelt. You have a lot of individuals who are accountants, business owners, law clerks, COs, police officers, school teachers, nurses, doctors, all these individuals who come from where we come from. Like, speaking about that, like even with Keith Saunders, grew up, born and raised in Roosevelt, Long Island, who is now a principal in the Hamptons, a high school in the Hamptons. We're from Long Island.
That's what we forgot to mention on the show.
Right. We're from Long Island and you've never been to the Hamptons. I couldn't tell you how to get to the Hamptons.
I sort of could. Hold on, let me close.
I can tell you how to get to Queens. I can tell you, I can show you how to get to Queens. I can show you how to get to Brooklyn. I can show you how to, you know what I'm saying? But
Absolutely.
the reality of it is, we have this great wealth of information. We have made something of ourselves. And we watch, sit back and watch individuals we grow up with or we grew up with, families suffer from police brutality, from the drugs, from the gang banging, from the prostitution, all and a lot of times our children in our community are functionally illiterate. Teachers are actually pushing kids through school because they don't want to deal with them next year. They know if they leave them back, they're gonna have to deal with the kid again. And the reason why they don't want to deal with them because they don't understand them. You have teachers who are not of your cultural background trying to teach your children civilization. Now, how funny is that? How funny is that when a person know nothing about your way of life trying to teach you how to live your way of life? We have got to the point where we've moved away from brotherly love and social equality and building a bond. Like Chuck D, you said the brothers gonna work it out. We're gonna work it out. We're gonna work it
Work
out
it out.
because we come up in an era in the 70s and 80s where we was unified in one way, shape, form, or fashion. We stood together. We talk about the civil rights. My great aunt is Fannie Lou Hamer, who was a civil rights activist, spoke at the 1963 Democratic Convention in Washington, D.C. And she was dropping it so hard that they end up changing the show on her. You've never seen them stop televising the Democratic Convention to put on, you know what I'm saying, Leave It to Beaver, because she was making knowledge born. When you touch on subjects that the devil don't want your people to hear, they're going to change the subject. That's just like going through the situation with Flint, Michigan. People don't realize Flint, Michigan still don't have clean water. Still don't have clean water. But since it's not televised or it's not being showed on social media, all the uproar have died down. But those people are still suffering from lack of having clean water. And this again is not a third world country. This is one of the wealthiest countries in the world. And you mean to tell me that Flint, Michigan doesn't have clean water for their babies? Their babies is basically, if they don't have bottled water or a filter system on their sink, they're bathing in lead, bathing in rusty water. You're cooking and cleaning your food, your pots and pans with rusty water. So you have to basically boil your water to clean your water. This is how we're living in 2021. But long as it's being televised, then everybody knows about it. Then everybody's in uproar. See, the devil already learned how to master the original man by being able to play with your emotional heartstrings. He will show you something to see if you're going to react to it and how you're going to react to it. Then when he started noticing other people from outside of the country start to make comments about how he's dealing with the people of this country, that's when they turn the switch off. That's when they turn the switch off. We have yet to sit there and actually take control of our community. People say voting don't matter. The reason why voting don't matter is because you don't vote. Or You don't know how to apply your vote. We have to be educated in all factions of life. When it comes down to voting and putting people in office starts on the grassroots level. Your local councilman, you know what I mean, the local ward, the local school board, the local mayor, because these are the individuals who actually affect you and your children in your community. When you're sitting there hearing that they're cutting back school funding or they're cutting back the books, children don't have good books, or they don't have transportation to get to school because they cut the budget. You don't even know who cut the budget. You don't know the individual that is actually in the seat that's making these changes happen that is affecting your children. Even down to the nutritional values of food that your child receives in the cafeteria. This all is done by your vote. Mostly everybody comes out to vote every 4 years. And the only person that they're talking about voting for is the president. You couldn't tell me a senator. You couldn't tell me a governor. You couldn't tell me the mayor. You couldn't tell me the commissioner. You couldn't tell me your legislator. You couldn't tell me your representative. Nothing. But you can tell me who runs for the president. Not realizing the
not even your
president,
alderman.
not even your alderman. You know what I mean? But you could tell me that person that you elected inside your church as the secretary, the treasurer, and the pastor. Now you're gonna vote on that. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna vote on that. But something that's gonna affect your babies. Do you realize how many boys and girls clubs have closed around this country? How many local community centers have closed around this country? You can't tell me that's a lack of funding because we're still having babies. The babies still need a place to go. And when you actually look into these areas, there's a lot of allotted money that is actually sitting there. So now the politicians are able to grease their own palm because the money's just sitting there and not being used. So you sit there and go, we have nowhere for the babies to go. Or what they do is they jack the prices up for the babies who want to participate in extra curriculum activity, athletics, education, anything after school. If it's not a part of a nonprofit organization, you're paying $200-300 for your child to participate in a Pop Warner football league. Now that's becoming commercial, where people are starting to get sponsors for Pop Warner football league. We are marketing and putting our babies on the auction block at a young age. We're not teaching them social skills. We're not teaching them sportsmanship. We're not teaching them, you know what I'm saying, teamwork. We're teaching them win at all costs. The end justifies the means. Sometimes a peace of mind and a loss is better than a headache and a win.
Absolutely.
And this is something that we're our children are losing.
Mm-hmm.
Our children are losing. And it's sad, but it's true. There's truth in this. Like you said, we're losing homes to gentrification, right? How are we losing homes to gentrification? Easy. Because everything that these children are seeing are either violent or it's a way where they can't reproduce themselves. This is what's being put out there for our babies to see.
Uh-huh.
The video games that they play are all violent. Everything is kill, 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 kill. Like, and I'm not gonna say it started with Grand Theft Auto, but Grand Theft Auto was one of the
Oh no,
first
it goes
games that.
way back.
Okay, yeah, but it's one of the
It
first
goes
games
way
I
back. Yeah,
saw that had
that
the
isolated.
hood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was isolated for as the hood. You had a gangbanger running around the neighborhood, robbing, shooting up places. Then he can go somewhere and work out and get real big, ride around on a bicycle like he
Mm-hmm.
Debo, steal a car, shoot somebody, and all this other stuff. So now
Mm-hmm. Be
you
made.
have, yeah, you have what they what's that, Black Ops or whatever that game is. They sit there and they're in the
Special ops.
military,
Yeah.
special ops, and they sit there and they shoot each other all
Mm-hmm.
day. All you see is sniper this, sniper that. They killing each other. They online talking about it. And in the music that they listen to, everybody is a killer. Everybody is a killer. Every female is a whore. She's either busting it wide open for a dude and his friends, or she's busting it open so a female can lick on her. Where have the queens gone? Where have the gods gone? Where have the kings gone? The energy and of today is killing our babies. They're making sure that our babies don't have a chance in hell to survive. Because one way that you can destroy a people is by not allowing them to reproduce themselves. They have put in our community all the abortion clinics. You can go to any black, Spanish, urban community and you can find at least 5, 6 liquor stores on one block, 5, 6 churches, 5, 6 abortion clinics. You go into a white neighborhood, you have those reproductive clinics where you can go sell your sperm, where you can go get vitro, where you can get all these, you can get your tubes untied, you can get everything you can do to produce yourself in the white neighborhood. Then if
Yep.
you're looking for a liquor store, it's one liquor store. It's one liquor store. Then you're looking for a church, it's one big church. They go in at 10 o'clock, they back out at 10:20. In a black church, you go in there at 10 o'clock, you might get out of there about 3 o'clock when the football game done went to halftime. But it speaks volume. It speaks volumes of how we perceive things, our outlook on things, and their outlook on things, their quality of life and our quality of life. Everything in our neighborhood is to destroy and kill us. Everything in their neighborhood is to flourish. They have homes on the golf course. I remember at one point in time I was delivering furniture for Haverty's Furniture, and that's one of the upscale furniture companies in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Majority of the
Mm-hmm.
places that I went to were mansions. Were mansions. Whether they was big mansions, little mansions, they were mansions. They was on golf courses. They was, and you know what I mean, beautiful homes. I remember Michael Jordan have a mansion in Cary next to John Wall. And what was the coach at North? One of the coaches at North Carolina. They all in this community of mansions, right? We went there and we delivered $250,000 worth of furniture. Do you know how many people I saw in that neighborhood that looked just like me and you, that wasn't athletes, that wasn't entertainers? Zero. You know how many athletes and entertainers that I saw in that neighborhood? 4. And this was a big community. And it was gated with a security guard in the front.
Absolutely.
And it ain't like, you know what I'm saying, you got to go to their house and buzz in like you do at the project. You go there, you tell them who you're going to see, they call the person, and if that person don't pick up, that means they're not home, that means you're not going in there. And that's just at the front gate. You haven't even gotten into the actual community. So that tells you about the quality of life. We push education on our children because we want them to be better than us. Every generation want their children to be better than us. But we have to steer our children in a direction where they're not just getting an education, but they're learning something where they can become self-sufficient. Because a lot of times we're sending our kids to school for higher learning, and what they're learning to do is work for someone else, is to make someone else money. Never taught to make themselves money. Most entrepreneurs that you see have a high school diploma or a GED, and they're out there pushing. They're out there pushing. And they're learning as they go. Just like you and I. We're learning as we go, the same way it is with other entrepreneurs. They're learning as they go. So we have to steer our children in directions where they can become self-sufficient and stand on their own 2 feet. Peace, Shamgar.
Peace.
It's the reality, that we look at. We have to be in a situation where enough is enough. If we are who we say we are, then do what we say we're going to do. Perform your duty. I see people all the time talking about they this firstborn said this, that firstborn said this one did this one did this, and you ain't did a damn thing.
What did
But
you?
tell me what somebody else said or did. You've done nothing. And your life reflects that. When you're still in the same situation, there's no growth. You cannot see, I don't care if the growth is small or large. If you're still dealing with the same exact situation that you were dealing with prior to, and you don't see any growth on no level, then something is wrong with you. Something is wrong with you. You're talking the same BS you've been talking since 1982. Something is wrong with you. Or your greatest parts of your life is in 1983. That was the highlight of your life when the Shell Toe Adidas came out. You know what I mean? When Frankie Crocker was still on the radio. That shows you the mental illness in the Black community, because we try to go back to a place where we were happy to get us through the day. We find a place mark in time, and we try to always go back to that, because at that point in time, as you all know, majority of us was still at home with our parents. Our parents was paying the bills. All we had to do was be kids, be teenagers, run the streets. We had no kids. So now as an adult, we fail to realize that our parents were preparing us for this. Everything that we see that our parents were preparing us for this. But on the flip side of this is we are preparing our children for a world that does no longer exist. We're preparing our children for a world that no longer exists. And that's deep because our generation, myself and your generation, was on the cusp of technology when technology first hit in the very beginning. Because you can remember somebody giving you a phone number and it was locked right here. Now, somebody give you a phone number, you tell them put it in your phone because you ain't gonna remember it once they walked away. There was times when we'd be at Green Acres Mall get numbers, and probably wouldn't call an individual for 2-3 days later. Remember the name, the phone number, what they had on, and everything else. Now you can't remember the name, you can't remember the phone number, you can't remember anything. But this generation was born with technology. You have babies who are 1, 2, 3 years old who can navigate through a laptop, telephone, tablets, iPads better than you and I. Know how to get to YouTube, know how to get to this, know how to get to that, way better than you and I. And we sit back in amazement like, wow. So we're trying to prepare them for a world that no longer exists because the world that we're preparing them for is the world that we grew up in. So that's when it comes to renewing our history and getting in tune with the babies so we can help them grow in a time where they can exist, where they can make some things happen and push them in a direction. I applaud Allah for being around the babies. The simple fact is, he kept reinventing himself. Reinventing himself by meaning he stayed amongst the babies, he learned their language, he learned what they need, and he pushed them in that direction. That's the same pattern. That's the blueprint that we have to build upon. What is the blueprint that we give our babies? Because see, we still want to be 16 too. We still want to be 17 too. I seen a grown man do the stanky leg, the damn stanky leg. He like 6'3", 6'4", leg across the room, ass cocked up in the air, just a grown man doing the stanky leg. When you know, like I know, only thing we do is the 2-step. And our shoulders move.
Hey, and that never gets old.
and you can speed it up or slow it down.
And we put a little dip in it.
Yeah, we put a little dip in it. But you ain't gonna be doing all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Now the black man has been so feminized over the last 15, 20 years.
Emasculated.
Very much so, demasculated. The role reversal. Do you know how hard it is to deal with the individual who, as a man, became the earth? And the woman is the sun? Do you know how hard it is to deal with a woman who have been the sun? Or supposedly been the sun? Because she's taking care of the man? Very disrespectful female. And the man sits there and tolerates it for the simple fact is he's weak. He don't know his origins in the world. He allowed the devil to give him a pre-described role, a predetermined role, and lived it out.
He's acting in a place. Acting instead of being.
Indeed.
Acting instead of being himself.
If you notice, every major TV show has some homosexuality in it. Every major
Mm-hmm.
TV show that black people watch has some homosexuality in it. I remember coming up, you didn't see them grinding on each other when we was watching TV growing up. You just like me. You grew up on All My Children and One Life to Live and As the World Turns when you stayed with grandma. All you seen was they kissed, they went to the room, and next thing you know, it was the next day. She got the cover to her neck. He's standing over there on the side of the room smoking a cigarette, and they talking. Now you actually seeing the breast, you seeing the ass, you seeing the whole motion, except for you know what I'm saying, him penetrating her. But it seems like he is. This is everything. I
Mm-hmm.
remember a time when Halle Berry wasn't doing sex scenes. Now she's getting popped off in damn near every movie. The new movie she got out, she's getting popped off
Oh,
by he,
absolutely,
huh?
absolutely.
She's getting popped
Yeah,
off
yeah.
by he
I'm
and her.
feeling with you. Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? Indeed, they have. It's time to take back the role of the black man and allow the black woman to go right back into her orbit.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? But the simple fact is, when you start looking at things and you're saying, "How is this possible? How can you teach your son to be a man when you're not even standing up being one? When you're not standing up being one, how can he respect you? How can your daughter meet a man and say this is gonna be my husband when she don't know what a man is? Then they get to the point where I don't need a man, I'm gonna buy a toy. Do you not know that male and female relationships balance each other? Balance each other. If you're not having a male and
By
female
law of nature.
relationship, everything is unbalanced, and it's so sad. Whereas you have mixed families, blended families, right? You can't say nothing to my child, and the child can be disrespectful to the mate, and there will be nothing said. There's a lot of different challenges that's going on, and we have to sit back as a black community and really take control and put things in a proper perspective. You do not realize, like, a lot of times in blended families, the children can be the devil in that situation, cause confusion between he and her.
Uh-huh.
And it's so crazy. But this is this generation in this era. This is this generation, this era. Because when we was coming up, we had to do what? We had to do the knowledge. You couldn't do no wisdom. You couldn't do no speaking. You had to do the knowledge. These children do the wisdom before they do the knowledge. And then put you in a situation where you have to deal with their mess up because they come to you. Now before you have to deal with their mess up, they know everything. They don't need you. They know everything that's going on. Everything under the sun.
Uh-huh.
But that's this generation. When you start taking discipline outside the home, when you take discipline outside the home and how you took discipline outside the home, we're not even going to talk about the black man being outside the home. We're talking about when the woman became the breadwinner of the household, right? And she don't have the energy to come home from work, cook, clean, and discipline the child. She don't have that type of energy because that's not part of her DNA. That's not who she is. So when we get to talking and dealing with reversing the polarity, we have to start with us. We have to understand who we are because we've been other than our own selves for years, months, and days. The lesson said, "Can the devil fool a Muslim?" And we say, "No, not nowadays." You mean to tell me that the devil fooled the Muslims 379 years ago? Fooled them.
Yes, sir.
He not only fooled them, he took him from his rightful place and made him submit to the one that is supposed to submit to him. We had a build on the show. We was building with Lord Hashim and Umi, and we were talking about how the sun has the power to cause and effect. And the sister said, well, the sun and moon both have attracting powers. The sun gave the moon her attracting power.
The attracting ability.
For her to have an attracting power on the earth. See, people don't realize that the moon is an actual jealous planet. And this is a bill that me and Akila had 2 days ago. And that's just like the outside woman. You're talking about having two women. Somebody is going to be missing on something. Because if you're dealing with two or more, you're supposed to be equal across the board. So somebody's going to be missing. So the individual who's lacking in something is going to become the moon, a jealous planet, and going to cause high tides in her. And then that, to me, as I drew it up, was the culture degree inside the 1 to 14. Who can come amongst and cause trouble amongst the righteous people? Another man can come amongst another man and cause trouble with me and you. You know why? Because we're going to throw him on the carpet. He told you what? He said what? All right, let's get it. Let's call him, put him right here. What was said? We're going to squash this right now. But see, it's a lot of brothers inside the penitentiary doing life over a woman because she was jealous. She went out of orbit. See, people don't realize that. When you have an individual with a hidden agenda, with their own agenda, see, you can't live two different lives. And you could tell this by the way they move. I give you an example. If it's storming at night, raining, and a man comes to your door saying he don't have nowhere to go, you're going to turn him away because you got a woman in that house. You ain't going to trust no stranger in your house while you sleeping and your woman in there, or whatever the case may be. But if a woman and babies come in the same storm saying they hungry, they don't have no shelter, you're going to make provisions. That woman going to get up in that house and see how good that other woman is living. So what's she going to do? She's going to sit there and go to the man and lie on the woman, and she's going to go to the woman and lie on the man. Then have them fighting with each other and kill the relationship so she can move in with the man. That's why if you ever notice, your mother would always tell your sister, or your grandmother would always tell your cousin or the family member, you never let a woman move in your house. I don't care if she's related to you. You'll never let a woman move in your house. And you sit there and go, even if she related to me? No. Because you don't know her nature. You don't know her nature. And not knowing her nature, she might be at the lower six with the devil. and might not have been raised to her fullest equality. See, these are the sciences that we look at and we deal with in the black community. And it has nothing to do with being just 5%. This is us as a people. At no given time do you see two men banging out because of something another man said. Another man could say a whole bunch of things. What's going to happen is either they're going to avoid each other, or they're going to pull the individual who claimed to said something on the carpet. And when that happens, everything gets squashed. But when
True, man.
a woman is involved, she get to crying and boo-hooing. You ain't trying to hear nothing. Your woman come to you right now crying and boo-hooing and say, John slapped me and this, that, and the third. You ain't gonna ask why he slapped her. You ain't gonna ask what she said to him. You ain't gonna ask what he did to him. Nothing. You going to find John. And John
John, your companion in trials and tribulations.
That's right. And when you find John, you will be on the Isle of Patmos. Because we know the Isle of Patmos is an actual prison. You understand me?
It's an actual prison.
Because that is what it is. But this was the devil's plan to destroy the black family. Take the head of the family away from the head of the family. Put the feminine, not the masculine man, not the masculine, at the head. When you take the feminine, put her at the head, now she's fighting against her nature of femininity, trying to be masculine and take on the burden of the world, which her shoulders aren't strong enough for. I'm not saying that a lot of women don't do it or whatever the case may be, but they're suffering doing it.
And a lot of us say, most true women will tell you. And we had this conversation in one of the charge rooms. Remember, we had this conversation where one of the queens said, I'm looking for my king to be a king. I'm looking for my man to take his rightful place. But it's so hard to find them out there because they have a lack of understanding, or they fall short of themselves, and their mindset has been erased to see. We have a lot of grown men in body stature, but you still got the mind of a child and a child's nature. You haven't grown. You have not outgrown your childhood as a man. You still a man doing boy crap or boy things, boy thinking. You know, I tell him about there, listen, man, I don't want to be a man. Matter of fact, KRS One, peace to the God, to the teacher. He gave an example sitting at one of his he was being interviewed. He said, boys want girls. Girls want boys. Men want women. And a woman wants a man. If you're a grown man seeking a girl, you are playing with boyish knowledge.
Right.
You should want a woman to match your manhood and stature. I don't want no girl. I got a woman.
Right.
I don't want a toy. I got a woman. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not no boy to my woman. I'm a man. I'm all man.
Right.
That's the relationship of defining boys from men and girls from women. Having the knowledge of that as a grown person. Are you still thinking a childlike minds? He said Girls chase the glimmer, the glitter, the gold. They want the man with the fancy. They want the boy with the fancy car, the jewelry,
Mm-hmm.
this and that. That's a girl seeking a boy, and the
Right.
boy wants the fast girl, candy on this, that, and that. Still, like a whole different language. And I mean, he said also, understand if that's your realm and you doing something, it's a
Mm-hmm.
positive method into it where you're growing, then
Mm-hmm.
your growth will let you know where you are standing in your tree. But if you still doing these things that you was doing and you at 15 and 14 and you 45, you ain't grown no damn where. You just grew in the body, but you ain't grew knowledge wise.
Right.
So what grown woman gonna want a boy to raise? She don't want to raise a boy. She done done that already. She needs a man in her life. She needs a companion to say, yo, baby, we gonna do this and that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Not what you want to do
Right.
today, boo. What you want to do today, baby? You want to go to the playground? Nah, you don't want
Right.
nobody like that. Playground. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? And
Actually, fact.
let's be clear. Let's be clear. We have a lot of things in this world that are
Mm-hmm.
fine tuned to take your vibrations on a negative level, to move,
Mm-hmm.
to knock you off your square and put you in something else. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Again, we builders build.
Right.
Builders build to build better, to make things better, not to take something that's been built and mess it up. But we're going to take that, and if we know that we can make it better than what it is, because that's the whole nature of having children, to become
Mm-hmm.
better as you build them, they become better and surpass you, is what we're supposed to do. That is our
Mm-hmm.
right passage of right. That is our lineage. That is the legacy we teach. Some of us don't get it right all the time, but
Mm-hmm.
we still have the knowledge to learn about it and then make ourselves better within
Mm-hmm.
ourselves. you know
Right.
and the thing about our love, man, our love is so powerful to where it can knock us off our own ass if we ain't right, and we get
Right.
caught up in our own madness. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of things that we've done. I can say I've done. I took, from my early years, teenage years, 20s and 30s and 40s, that was just like off the chain. But sometimes you get yourself pulled in the wrong direction easily when it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to
That's
stay in the
another
right
social degree in the
focus.
1 to 14. That 85%. Who's the 85%?
Absolutely.
That's it.
There we go. All that comes through. You understand what I'm saying? And
Right.
so, and people have a hard time seeing you in a different light when they've seen you in something else for so long that they just like, nah, he ain't right, she ain't right, is that he ain't right, is that, let me tell you what they did. So you talking about a pastime effect. I understand that. Because that's what you stuck at when you see me in your
Mm-hmm.
thought. You see the
Mm-hmm.
pastness of me. You ain't
Mm-hmm.
ready to listen to the understanding of what came out of the past to see a
Mm-hmm.
better future. When you do, see, people will already misjudge you based upon what you used to do. And I'm not saying, people, one thing that is constant we always build upon is change.
Mm-hmm.
You have the right to make a change for better over your worse.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to have the knowledge of yourself to distinguish your better over your worse, to overcome your worse.
Mm-hmm.
And to overcome worst thing within self is the devil that you create in you,
Mm-hmm.
because it's
Mm-hmm.
already there. The
Mm-hmm.
manifestation of true devil is within inside you, and you bring them out or you keep them locked down in control. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when we allow that devil devil to overcome us, then we have lost sight and knowledge of ourselves and living a
Mm-hmm.
savage life. And we can't see it no different way until we knock that devil out. And how do we knock
Right.
that devil out? You got to have that self-style wisdom back. You got to get the self-style
Mm-hmm.
wisdom back. Sometimes, and it's not, it isn't always just going to be that one individual, because it takes a village to raise a child in the right way. You know, back in the days, you know how the family lives. Granddaddy, grandma, you know what I mean? The patriarch and matriarch was the root of almost everything. You know what I
Right.
mean? When they came into the house, it was nothing but respect. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Mom and dad come in that house, you know what I'm saying? Dad come home, everybody sitting at that table waiting on dad so we can eat.
Right.
We wait. And the first thing I knew, my old dad asked, first thing came out his mouth. All right, how was your school today? What did you learn?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Our mom sit back and she ain't saying nothing. She playing that role. Hey, he's in the house. You better answer that, man. He talking to you, and that's what it was. And then we go to mom. Mama, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hear that. Now, mom, that was the backbone right there. So you thinking you gonna play dad at one point with mom? Oh no, that foundation was locked. They already knew your story before you even came through. Before you knew it.
But see, that goes back to what I'm saying, that we couldn't separate man and woman as children. But the children today can
Right.
separate man and woman, because the thing
Mm-hmm.
about the generation prior to, the man married the woman in the mind. The woman was married to the man in the mind, where they was bonded. There was no there was no agenda piece. There was no agenda that
Peace.
was
Go ahead.
outside of them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there was no agenda outside of them. She didn't have a hidden agenda. He didn't have a hidden agenda. They was on one accord. Now everybody got their own hidden agenda. Now everybody has their own hidden agenda. You do your thing, I'm gonna do my thing. We're gonna come together and do our thing together. This is what it is. So when you're living in that type of life, and you know that's what it is, you know what I mean? How can you live righteously? I want to. It's getting back to one accord. Just like I remember when the old dad and the old earth was together. When he came in the house, everything stopped moving. As 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 uh as the comedian used to say, even the fish stopped swimming until he was ready for things to move up in there. You didn't
Right.
speak to him until he done went to the bathroom, he done sat down, took his shoes off, and he done decompressed and got at that table to eat. Then he'll address you. That's when you start speaking. All that running around and daddy, like now when you come in from work, the kids will rush you. You can't even get to the door. We couldn't do that growing up. You might you might get the backhand of Jesus or somebody going across your lips. You know what I mean? It was just what it was.
You know,
Um, the reality, the reality is what it is, man. We're living and preparing our children for a world that no longer exists. We allowed the devil
we always
to
always
come
reverse.
amongst and separate man and woman. I don't care if you bonded on paper or bonded in a relationship. He done came in and planted a seed of deception somewhere to cause confusion that's going to mark confusion somewhere down the line. It's going to be some seed inside your home that's going to separate he and her at all times. So in that process, you have to know what you're dealing with. You
why
have to know what
the
you do.
man has to be the MOU. He has to be the master of universe within the circumference of his home. That
Mhm.
means mastering everything within the cipher, your wisdom and your seeds. You
Mhm.
establish that. When you don't, and the polarity reverses, then you get a whole different. You get a negative connotation. You understand what
And
I'm saying?
it's
So the
I remember it's
blessing
like a
and the
bill.
blessing you is by nature.
It's a bill that
You
we
know,
had
I used to say
before.
like this part, God, when
Uh,
well, me and you was building.
Yeah, me and you was building. It was a bill me and you had, right?
Okay.
About how a man goes outside his home and he's fighting the devil all day long. Then he comes home looking for reprieve. And now he's fighting the devil inside his home.
Mhm, mhm.
There is no peace when you can't find no love. And there surely won't be any happiness. Because at any given time, there's going to always be a discord. There's a devil in
That's
your
right.
home if
That's
there's
right.
no peace there. If you got to sneak and slither and go behind individuals back and do whatever, or you say, you know what I'm saying, F they feelings, I'm going to do this anyway, and you know that this going to cause trouble, then at that point in time, you don't care. If you can sacrifice your mate supposedly for your greater good, because see, the reason why I say supposedly, because he and her are supposed to be one. But if you can sacrifice
Hmm.
your mate for your greater good, or mess over your mate for your greater good, then there was no bond with he and her. There was
Of
no
self,
bond with
of
he and her.
selfishness.
That no, that right then and there tells you that the person that you sleeping with is the devil in your home. But you know, God, we getting close to the end of the wrap up, and that's just a
Yo,
prelude
we've been
to
kicking it
next
there.
season's God and Earth relationship.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Everybody,
But
listen, man. This will be the last show for the year of 2021. We will see you all back in 2022. So we
mhm,
want everybody out there, whatever you plan on doing for the rest of this time. And listen, let me say this real quick, and it's very important. These holiday times are major depressive time for some peoples
mhm,
that you may know and may not know. And they just what we talked about earlier about mental understanding. Look for the signs. Open yourself up to the signs of people when they want to talk to you. And also think to yourself, reach out to somebody that who you may not have talked to in a while and just call them and say, hey, you was on my mind and I just want to drop a jewel of love to you. People don't realize sometimes just certain words can mean a mouthful of food to a deaf ear needing hearing. All right. Never be afraid to tell any man, woman, or child you love them to their face. Be real. Be
mhm,
true. Be true. I tell Josh and Mill all the time, I love you. This ain't no
mhm.
homo stuff. That's real talk. I love my brother. That's my
That's right.
brother. If I can't tell my brother I love you, I ain't got nothing to say at all. I tell man, woman, and child, I love you. I love
Mhm,
my people.
mhm.
I love my people. No matter how much heartache we cause one another, I still love my
My
people because I know we can do better together.
mhm,
Together.
mhm.
You know? You know what I'm saying? So think about others every day, not just specifically because of certain factions, but it's an everyday thought to apply the science of life to everything. That's what we do. That's what we teach. The science of life and everything. All right? So just think about that. And please be careful on your journeys. I'm making a journey myself tomorrow, traveling. So be safe in where you're going from your destination, from your departure to your destination. And if you return in whatever time frame, be careful from when you leave to when you get back to
Mm-hmm.
your home circumference. And just think
Indeed.
about the babies, think about everybody. You know what I'm saying? So we got love. You know, if everybody's under the sound of my voice that haven't had nobody to tell them you love you, it's the God K Wise. I'm telling you right now, we love you. We love you right here, the real 360. We tell everybody, you got a home right here with the real, because we
No
are
question.
real, and what we saying and
We
doing
are
is not
real.
without a doubt. This is truly showing and proving. We love each and everybody out there, man. You know, I tell my enemies, they're gonna be my enemies. Enemies, you can stay where you are. I got love for you being my enemies because if I didn't know you was my enemies, I wouldn't know how to protect myself. So thank you very much. Love y'all too.
Thank you for the lesson.
Love
You
y'all
know,
for that
I tell you something.
because
I tell
you
you,
teach me to be a greater good of myself.
I tell you, this show right here today, the wrap up show, was dedicated to my father, Sammy Mays Jr., my mother, Teola Mays, uh, Mama Janet Lee, which is born professor, my cousin's mom, Milo in the dance, his mother, he lost his mother the same time I lost my father. And also, this show is dedicated to Reverend Wilson. May peace be upon him. And Mama Wilson, I love you. You know what I mean? And we definitely gonna play that song for you on the way out. We're not gonna play our theme music. We're gonna play the song Mama Wilson want us to play heading out of here today. And to all individuals who have lost a loved one during this holiday season, even though we don't celebrate, a lot of people do, and I know it's a hard time for a lot of people. Just hold your head. You have a lot of support. You have a lot of people depending on you. You have a lot of people pushing you. You have a lot of people backing you. So, like KY said, if nobody told you they love you, from real to real 360 to you, we love you. And at that time, K, take us away. You know what I'm saying? Play Mama Wilson's song, baby,
Yeah,
because I want her to know we was
yeah, I
listening.
know. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I told her, I just want everybody, thank you and be aware. My mom's, she's going through a moment, as we get older, things happen and everything like that. And the love, the reign of love, should always remain tight, and if not, get tighter. Because we never know physical time of anybody. You know, we can see the biological motion, but we're not the true master and judge of that time frame. Only the individual inside knows when that internal sun knows when it needs to lower down its beam of heat and relax and take its place in a beautiful bliss of energy of sleep to recharge in another time. Everybody, from the real to real 360, peace to all the gods and nurse, peace to all the human families on the planet, man, woman, and child, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, zigzag, zig. This is the real to real 360, and we will see you in 2022 if we all safe and love. So, to my mother, to all mothers, this is dedicated to you. We say peace. We're gonna rock out a little bit, y'all. Big up to all the mothers living and present. We love you, Queen.
Mhm.
Big up the Live Nation Radio Network. That's my jam right there, baby. I might even sing.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that.
She brought in this world. Oh yeah, this is it. Sometimes I feel so sad when I think of all the things I used to do. My mama used to clean somebody else's house just to buy me a new pair of shoes. I never understood how mama made it through the week when she ever got a good night's sleep. Oh, she's one of a kind. You know what, John? You got yours, and I got mine. Oh, mama, hey, mama, my heart belongs to you. Oh, yeah. She's my favorite girl. Only get one, yeah.
That's it.
Mother's love is so special, yes.
Something that you can't describe. It's the kind of love that stays with you
Oh, yeah.
until the day you die. She's hardly little things like saying hello and thank you, please.
Woo.
My brother goes hard on a lady. Oh, she's one of a kind. You got yours and I got mine.
Ja.
Please, please, strong.
Yeah. All right, y'all. We're going to have to end this, boy, because right now my eyes is about to tear up because that's how much love I have for our mamas living and those who have gone on. But we know they always live within us. The truth and value of a mother's love will never die within the righteous. So, to all our families, we love you. We will see you. Be safe, be righteous, be loved and adored because we love you all right here on the Real 360. This is DJ K Wise and Josh Mel Allah, Mr. PhD himself, my dude.
Yes,
we
sir.
say
Peace.
peace.